Welcome in to I Remember My First Time. Don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
Damn
This is
it.
a podcast about cinematic awakenings
I like the
where
sound
we
of
talk
that.
about movies we
Hello.
love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Oh my god, that sounds delicious.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
Oh, we love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics? But
Absolutely not.
do we love movies?
Oh, we love the shit out of movies. And this week's masterpiece is the 2024 remake of the Patrick Swayze classic, Roadhouse.
Jacob, looky here, our own little octagon.
BJ, I'm actually on my way out. These guys weren't near as nice as I thought they were initially. So I just like riding motorcycles, and it's kind of hard to do that without a group in South Florida. So yeah.
I am BJ Leica, and it's been a while since I've been clubbing.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Beekis, and my friends call me Big Dick. And joining us today is a man who knows Florida very well. He is aware that crocs hide their food, and he always asks people if they have health insurance before kicking their asses. You know it. We know it. The most featured guest on IRMFT, the Seth Rollins. No, sorry, the Roman Reigns of IRMFT, or I guess John Cena. He's been champion more. My brother, David Ekus.
See, BJ knows I was going to use the motorcycle thing. I was going to say, I'm David because did I just like to ride motorcycles? You took that, and then I'm not fast on my feet. My backup was Big Dick, and you stole that one too. I'm just, God. We're definitely
The
brothers.
the 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 best part is BJ's listening to this knowing that I just fucked
I
it up
knew
for you.
it.
Well, anyways, I'm here, and I'm not quick on my feet, so I don't have a backup. So.
That guy alone took this movie an extra
Oh,
Oh,
point
yeah.
he
for me.
was hilarious.
I loved him. He was so funny. Roadhouse with David, who wasn't on our last Roadhouse podcast.
He didn't see it until our podcast. Our podcast is the reason he saw the greatness of the Patrick Swayze Roadhouse.
That is 100% true. And I will tell
I mean,
you, if I ever actually get to go to war, I'm ripping someone's throat out because of this movie. Or, the first one. Ah!
Amazon Prime describes this movie as in this adrenaline fueled reimagining of the 80s cult classic. Ex UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at a Florida Keys roadhouse, only to discover paradise is not all that it seems.
that's pretty good. I did not
Uh,
mind that one. Go
Jacob,
Amazon
you
Prime.
have our IRMFT plot summary.
I do have IRMFT plot summary, and here it is, first timers. Want to watch a movie that has that has as many shirtless men as Magic Mike? What about a movie where you get to see ass? Connor McGregor shows off his trunk and bends over for everyone to see it. Oh, and there's countless ruthless fucking fight scenes with a little bit of comedy. But the focus is big meaty men smacking man meat.
God, there are so many fight scenes in this movie. It's wild.
Well, can I say something that I know we're going to get into, but I just can't hold it. All the fight scenes, and they spent all that money choreographing it, and they couldn't pay a stunt driver to do that truck scene. Still blows my mind. Why was that all CGI? The hell was that?
It's a because it's a direct to streaming movie. Like, I'm okay with that. It didn't take me out of the movie.
That was
Yeah.
the one part where it kind of took me out, where it was just 100% CGI. I was like, I don't know. It just kind of took me a minute to get back into it.
Let's see.
Fair.
Roadhouse is rated 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb,
Hmm.
60% on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 57% Metacritic score.
Okay.
Critic reviews, I just took 3 excerpts from 3 critics who did not like this movie.
I can't imagine critics would. There's a reason it's got 54%, but
If
continue.
Roadhouse were more fun, if it didn't trot out fight sequences with such workmanlike regularity, it might have attained its kitschy greatness of its predecessor. But it doesn't aspire to much more than mining the intellectual property catalog for a quick and dirty cash grab.
There's no doubt in my mind that if that critic had been alive in the 80s, he wouldn't have liked Patrick Swayze's original Roadhouse.
Here's a review for all of
So,
our 6th grade English teachers. It's all largely an ugly, vulgar, vivacious time that's disposable and never as amusing as it clearly thinks it is.
yeah, this movie was not
No.
made for that guy.
And I really added this. I added this one in here just so you guys could make a dick joke. Roadhouse's limp, jokeless dialogue leaves the viewer plenty of time to consider how lazy this whole affair feels.
That was a limp dick joke.
Yeah. Only a limp dick writer would write that.
Agreed. Limp dick motherfucker. I don't have much about budget for this, but the production gave the filmmakers and Jake Gyllenhaal the choice. They could have a $60 million theatrical budget or an $85 million streaming budget. And they went with the $85 million streaming budget.
Interesting choice.
Everyone in that movie is like, yeah, I got money. Let's do this. Well, all the stars.
Yeah,
anyway.
give us the money, because I don't think I would not have ran out to a theater and paid $12 to see this movie.
Yeah.
No.
But
I'd have watched it. I'd have watched it for free on some illegal movie website. So instead, I watched it for free on the person's Amazon Prime that I have. He's on the pod. It's David.
I don't know what he's talking about. You hear that?
can't prove that.
You hear that, Jeff Bezos or whatever your name is?
You can't prove that. I have a VPN.
I got to get a VPN in Texas now because they outlawed Pornhub.
They sure did.
Just use another porn website.
not
The
as
internet's
good,
like
man.
90% porn.
Not as good.
All right, movie review. Look, BJ, what are your thoughts on this movie?
So I wanted a movie that was at least 70% as good as the original. And I feel like I got a movie that was 70% as good as the original. What I liked, I really liked. And what I didn't like, I really didn't like.
Okay. David, your
Mine's
thoughts on the
about
movie?
the same because, like I mentioned already, like the CGI. Like I know, like you said, it was a straight to streaming movie, but there was just scenes where it didn't need CGI and they used it. I just thought that was weird. But no, I think it was like not as good as the original, but I wasn't expecting it to be because no one beats the Swaze Man. No one, not even Jake Gyllenhaal. Roadhouse. And if your problems aren't solved by a roundhouse kick, then they're not real problems. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I saw one roundhouse kick in this movie. Yeah, put that.
I wasn't looking for it.
I was, and I don't remember seeing one. Makes me sad.
I mean, my thoughts about the movie are pretty much the same as y'all. I knew I was going to enjoy it because I knew it was going to be a pretty good remake, and there were things that they decided to do with this movie that I was like, really? but okay. Which leading right into that, what are things you liked about the movie, BJ? What are those
It
things?
was just constantly testosterone fueled and just I don't think you go more than about 8 minutes of this movie without some sort of action fight scene. I thought the fight scenes were shot really cool. I really loved, like, the POV getting beat up fight scenes that they did a couple times in this movie. I I thought it was just
Mhm.
a blast in the sense of the fight scenes. I thought all of them were well shot, they were cool, they were fun, and I never stopped to look at the time in this movie. It's pretty long, but it really flew by for me.
'Kay. David, anything you liked about it that BJ didn't
Yeah,
say?
I like that they paid him like I think asked BJ if this is the right word earlier, homage to the original movie. Like it would definitely wasn't the same movie, but they had like little like references or like the scene wasn't cut and paste, but it was definitely like the idea was from the original movie. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I liked way more I liked way more about this movie than I didn't like. Like, I loved all the fight scenes, like you were saying, BJ, like, he didn't go very long, which made 2-hour runtime so much easier to deal with. Because I didn't realize until the movie ended, and I was just like, "Fuck, that movie was kinda long." But during the movie, I never thought that, and it was because they had those fight scenes timed in so perfectly. And then the one thing that I thought this movie did really well, even better than the original, and already mentioned it, brought it up like a whole point for me, was the comedy, specifically by Homeboy. But I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was funny too.
Uh,
But the comedy in this movie was a riot,
I'll
and I
say on
loved it.
top of the comedy, I liked all of the, like, side characters better in this one than the first one. I liked the bartender,
Yeah.
the little girl who was at the bookstore, she was incredible. The two bouncers that he kind of took under his wing, the
Hmm.
the pre-Connor McGregor gang, like, I really thought they did a good job of presenting all those characters, but going right into what I didn't like, they never flushed anything out in this movie. Nothing was flushed out from a character perspective. Even with Gyllenhaal, it was so frustrating.
I thought Gyllenhaal was flushed
Yeah,
out. All the flashbacks and everything didn't do that for you.
yeah, a little, but they like present these other characters that you really like, and then just nothing really happens with them. And I'm like, why'd you make me like these people?
I thought they did okay with that. That wasn't that. I didn't even think of that. And when you bring it up now, I don't agree.
Like the two bouncers that he took under
But
their
okay.
wing, like those are great characters. Let's see how they flush it out. Let's flush out the owner of the bar a little bit more. The
I'm just like, this movie is already 2 hours long. Like, I'm fine with how
Yeah,
they did the
just
characters. I
okay.
enjoyed the two. I enjoyed the
But
two
that's just
bouncers.
horrible
But I understand.
storytelling, where you like introduce these characters, you get people to like them, and then it's like nothing really happens.
I mean, the guy that he had first became the teacher. He was like, "Don't forget to lift with your knees." Boom, fleshed
That
out.
is not fleshed out.
I thought so. Like, I didn't find it. I'm like, I was okay with it. All right, but anyways, anything else you didn't like besides that?
Yeah, there's no titties, and he didn't rip a guy's throat out.
Those are the two main complaints right there. But besides, I was looking in the roundhouse. Like, where was the roundhouse kick? You're a UFC fighter. Just throw one of those in. Just one. I just needed one roundhouse kick. It's Roadhouse. Whatever.
I like how we dislike all different things. The thing I disliked was the stupid love story. Like, didn't care for it. It didn't need
Yeah,
to
but it
be in
was
there.
way,
Like
way
it was.
shorter than the love story in the first movie. The love story is basically they go
I
on
know.
one date to a cool little sandbar in the middle of the ocean.
I know. Still
Yeah,
hated it.
and
Like it didn't do it for me.
my main complaint
Uh,
was that he. Yeah, I know it showed him like getting new bouncers and there was no like he was brought down there to like be a bouncer and that was just like such a small part of the movie. I feel like that was
Well,
just like a side quest of him being a cooler or a bouncer or whatever.
Well, he wasn't brought to be a bouncer. He was brought in to fight the silver spoon douchebag kid to stop him from taking over the bar.
Because his guys had like been terrorizing the bar for months to that point.
I guess I get it, but
Like he was brought in. He was brought.
I know. I guess I just missed that. The original, he took his like bouncer duties way too seriously. I felt like I missed that in this one. You know.
I The other thing that I disliked, I also loved because it was just so ridiculous. But the amount of shirtless men that we get to look at, like it's like we're watching like a sexy, steamy romance novel on screen.
Yeah, because Gyllenhaal didn't need to be that ripped.
Was
You
like,
don't need to be that ripped, dude. There's no reason.
You know, he was super proud of it when they were like, "You want
and,
to be
like,
in your boxers?" He's like, "Dude, I've been training for years for this role. Of course, I want to be in my boxers."
oh, speaking of boxers, Connor McGregor's shorts are as tight as my boxers.
It,
He was wearing boxers the
if
whole
if you're
movie.
gonna show us that many shirtless men, two glory shots of Conor McGregor's bare ass. Show me a pair of titties at the bar. Just one. Just a pair.
Uh, I was like, "Holy cow!" And I'm just like, was this put in there because we're in Florida and you can just be shirtless all the time?
Key West is a crazy place, Jacob.
It's known for the Florida man for a
I,
reason. It's a crazy town.
yeah, fair. To end this part of the segment, Nima said it perfectly last night. She goes, "It's a male movie. I mean, it's got to be the males of 2024 because you might not know what side you're playing."
Yeah, that's pretty true.
I believe the first time Gyllenhaal is shirtless, I believe the noise my wife made was mmm.
I felt like
at
Andy from
one
The
point,
Office, where it's just like, I mean, I if he tried to kiss me, I wouldn't resist too hard. I mean, I resist at first.
at one point in the movie, we were just talking about how ridiculous it was, and Emma, as a like sidebar movie conversation, she was, "I'm not complaining. This has been great for me." Okay, so was it a good or a bad movie? I like the first thing I said to BJ was, "How did you enjoy this dog shit movie?" And he took it the wrong way. He was like, "This movie was 70% as good as the original, which is what I wanted." I mean, and I was like, "I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the fuck out of this movie too, but it was still dog shit."
This movie is exactly what it presents itself as.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Yep,
I think they knew that, which is why when they read the script and they saw where this was going, they chose to go the straight to streaming movie, where they knew.
they knew.
They did a good job of making a shitty movie. Does that answer the question?
It's a
Yes,
shitty fun movie. You have to make sure
yes.
you know that it's fun because it was a fun movie to watch.
All right, it's time to get into this movie even deeper than we already have, and I feel like we've gotten pretty deep.
But we haven't quite gotten balls deep.
Balls deep. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Dad,
Mount Rushmore.
Dad, how do you?
All right, I will go first. I'll list off my four. If you don't have this one, save it. You can talk about it. If you have it, kind of save it for your Rushmore. I'm gonna do something very rare, Jacob. I'm gonna choose an actual, really short, small part of this movie, and I'm gonna say my fourth favorite scene is the intro to Conor McGregor.
You would have that ass scene on your top four.
My question here is, so he escapes the balcony of the woman having sex with, and then he gets a phone call and pulls the phone out of his boot. Was he having sex with boots on?
Yes,
Absolutely not.
But that means he had to have taken the pants off over his boot, and that's just weird.
that is
Well, we
weird,
gotta say
but
that
I
again.
mean,
There was a big car that went
yeah,
by. Alright, so we're here to say that he had he had to have taken the pants off over his boots, and that's no easy task when you're in the moment, for sure.
Especially as tight as the clothes he was wearing in this movie was.
Right.
Do you think he took the pants off, took the boots off, the pants off, and then put the boots back on and was like, "Are you ready, baby?"
I I think he ripped his pants
It's
off.
just like NBA warm-up tearaways.
Yes.
Yep,
I love it.
and just ripped them off and fucked the shit out of that girl, and then had to leave and had no pants because he ripped them
I like
The
off.
that
scene
logic. I like
the
it.
scene was just hilarious to me. A great intro to a character. "What are you doing?" "I'm clothes shopping."
Stupid.
I also love him still having his phone in his sock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Incredible. But that's whenever he bends over and gives us a nice glory
Good
shot of his
lord.
ass.
I don't know if I've ever seen that much of a male ass in a movie.
I think the only movie that comes to mind is Rambo, when I saw that much. When he's getting sprayed with the hose.
No, when the only movie that comes to mind is also a Sylvester Stallone movie, but it's the sex scene that Stallone has with Sharon Stone in the
Why
Bond movie,
did
The
both of our
Specialist.
minds go to Sylvester
There's
Stallone?
because the correct answer is Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport is
Uh,
actually the correct answer.
I love how all these are male centered movies, and they're just like full frontal ass for you.
Just zoomed in too. Why are we zooming in?
Okay, number three
Number
scene.
3 scene, for me is the "I haven't been clubbing in a while." The big barroom brawl where everybody's fighting and the band is still playing after everybody's left the bar and is fighting outside. It's such a cool fight scene. You get a little preview of the McGregor Gyllenhaal fight, and this is the scene that felt the most like the original, and I had a blast watching this scene. And I've always wanted to
Yeah,
beat someone with a golf club, so there's that.
this is on my Mount Rushmore because of course it is. I have this as the first big fight scene. Like you knew Jake Gyllenhaal was going to lose, so you're going into it knowing that. It starts off with the little spoiled little brat talking to Gyllenhaal about, and then we get the fleshed out story of Gyllenhaal. Like, oh, he not only killed a guy in the ring, but he beat the fuck out of
And
that
it was
dead
his
guy,
friend.
and it was his friend. Like, and then him just sitting there drinking his espresso. And you know the bartender the whole time is like, why isn't my guy doing nothing? Because if there's one person who had a bigger crush on Jake Gyllenhaal than Rania or Nema, it was the bartender who in that movie. And Gyllenhaal was just so charming. Just every time they interacted, it was perfect. And you know she's sitting there going like, what the fuck? Why isn't our guy doing nothing? And the fight scene was just great, like you said. And I thought it was great comedy. The band playing the whole time.
My,
that was
my
I think that was another another oma whatever to the original because they kept playing in the original too with all the fighting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, my number 2 scene is where he asks the guys if they have insurance before he beats their ass. And the drive to the hospital was so funny, where they were all concussed and broken bones crammed into the car. Just like,
Oh,
"Thanks for taking us to the hospital, but you're the reason we've gotta go to the hospital." I
Mhm.
your boy who bumped it up a whole number grade for you is phenomenal in this scene. Uh,
See, I
oh
love
my gosh.
the hospital's
In
only
in in
20 minutes away. I said 25. It's so stupid.
He's like, bump coming up, and you just hear them all go, oh!
This scene, of course, makes my Mount Rushmore too, and I love like the comedy in it was great. Just what was one of the parts that you don't have to lose in front of your friend? He's like, I'm not losing in front of them. They're here to help. Well, that's hardly fair. And then just awesome. He's just like, don't worry, it's not that bad. You broke my arm. Yeah, I mean, but it's not that bad.
I can't
Don't worry
ride.
about it. Yeah. Do you have medical insurance? What the fuck are you talking about? Like dental? Is dental covered? Do you have good medical insurance?
Yeah, great scene.
Incredible.
And
Incredible.
number one, because I couldn't decide if I liked the final fight scene better. I think I actually liked the blow up of the yacht and the boat chases. A guy gets run over by a fucking boat in this movie, guys.
It was
I think
incredible.
I actually liked that part better, but I don't not want to put the final fight scene. So I'll just talk about it when one of you guys bring it up. I love why are we double crossing all of a sudden in this movie? What the fuck is going on?
Oh my gosh. Also another funny part, just Gyllenhaal being like, "Ooh, double
Yeah.
cross. Ooh, another double cross."
Double cross the double cross.
Yeah. And I love the bad acting too. Or maybe I just took it as bad acting where the bad guy, the sheriff, was like, oh, what? I was just like, what?
You really took my daughter. I'm like, yeah,
Did you
dude. You
did you
know that's how
notice
this
who Big
works?
Dick was, Jacob?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna
All
talk
right.
about Big Dick when we get the character
Okay.
But
breakdown, BJ.
I love that there was no reason for that double cross either. The sheriff was always like on that guy's side. And he was like, actually, I did take her. Like, why? There's besides for the plot of the movie, like there's no other
And
reason for that.
and the coup de grace of this scene, the boat flying into the roadhouse, was so fucking cool.
It was.
It
Way
was so
cool.
cool.
They did a pretty good job on that CGI.
The
Like I'm saying, I know I keep
the
harping on it, but the boat looked fake. There's one other scene that was obvious. That one was pretty well done.
David, your Mount Rushmore.
All of mine were pretty similar. The like I added my if since I went to the my number three my was different, and I did my Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal was any time Connor McGregor did his strut anytime. I just did drop his like what the heck? It's just
Where
anytime
the
he was
fuck is
strut.
everyone?
Like, it was like I know that don't get me wrong, he's a big dude like muscle wise, like for his size, but he was walking like he was 8 feet tall. Like I'm just like, what are you doing? It made
I
it. Oh,
loved
no, I
it.
loved it. I was all for it. But and then the only different and then my number 2 scene was different just because it's a short scene, and just because of that stupid joke by the bad guy was that showed his face like, "What do I call you, sir?" They call me Big Dick. So stupid.
He's like, yeah, I'm not calling you that.
Call you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That won't be me.
But no, everything else was and then my number 1 scene was because I'm all big about they didn't give me the roundhouse kick, but at least they gave me that big where he goes into that guy and like he like collapses his throat or he does something to it where he just destroys the dude's throat.
Yes.
So I knew that was reference to the original, where he ripped his throat off. I would have preferred the throat rip, but at least they referenced it.
Yep. Yeah. I love that scene too. My Mount Rushmore pretty much closely follows BJ's besides having the boat scene on there. So I'll pick some other scenes that I enjoyed out of the movie. I'll be the one that picks the handling the bar in Florida montage. Great, great montage in the middle of the movie.
Wait, which one is that?
Where you kind of get the workings of the bar
Oh,
and Gyllenhaal hanging out in Florida and then just
yeah,
Florida
yeah.
stuff.
Where he picks up the other, trainer and you get to see them. Is that he's got a knife,
Yeah.
take a step back?
Yeah,
Cool,
that's in there
cool.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very fun.
Do you include like all the
Yeah.
part? Like, are you lie, cheating, and stealing, or just saying that?
No, this is just the
Okay, all right.
montage. Just the montage in the middle of the movie. It just has that part that BJ said in it too. Like it breaks up the montage to put that in the middle.
Yeah, good choice. I was wanting to throw that one on there too, but you only got 4, man.
You only got 4. The I thought the bookstore scene was great. The first time Brent's henchman tried to get Gyllenhaal to come talk to him, I thought that was
Yeah,
some
the
quality shit. He's just like, "You saw my gun, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did see your gun." Again, I'm not worried about it. What do you mean you're not worried about it? Well, if I break your forefinger and your thumb, you can't shoot it, which then would make the gun pointless, so not a real threat.
or what was it? You can shoot it, but you just can't hold
And
it.
then that's what he did. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the other guy got out of the truck. He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "You have a gun too?" He's like, "I left it in the truck."
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't even make any sense, though. Why? Whatever. Like, I looked at the. Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah.
just a cool scene, so I'm throwing it on there. Like I said, my Mount Rushmore pretty
Oh, and
much
I
I
mirrors
forgot.
I
BJ's,
I
so I'm
I hate
taking
to not throw any Rushmores of the little girl at the bookstore because I thought she was so fucking charming in this movie.
Well, that's a good honorable mention for sure.
Yeah.
But I forgot to mention when you talked about your clubbing scene. Did you? Well, you may have said it at the Jacob's favorite character when he was just like, "Oh, hey, bro." Like what? Like he's
He
actively
was
destroying the bar, and he's like, "Oh, hey, bro."
he was so friendly.
He's like, "It's nice to
Yeah,
see you again."
he was so cool.
And just because I can't keep them off of my Mount Rushmore, that scene, the first big bar fight scene that BJ had talked about, and then the final fight. The final
It
fight
was a
was so
fun
fun
scene
for
for
me.
sure.
Oh my gosh, it was so ruthless. It was so wild. It was so violent, which the the violence is why I like movies like this. Like oh my gosh, testosterone driven violence just beating the absolute ever living ever living fuck out
About
of each
as
other.
violent as you'll ever
And
see a one-on-one, hand-to-hand fight scene in a movie.
Mhm.
yes, and I enjoyed every second of it. It was incredible. And then I enjoyed him stabbing Connor McGregor. Oh, that was great. Just a repeated stabbing. And then I'm just gonna throw this in there, have it be my life feet and chill scene, the very end of the movie. Credits are rolling, and Conor McGregor breaks out of the
As you
hospital.
could just see all the
It was
nurses
so
No
and
way. I
scrunched.
doctors.
didn't see that. I'm gonna have to go
Oh,
pull it up. No, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
he opens the door and, like, all the nurses, doctor, and medical staff is, like, on the floor grabbing their arm. Oh, oh,
Oh,
as he's just
man. How
strung
far into the
out.
credits was
And
that?
and not very far. And David, you get
Oh my
another ass
god, of
scene of Conor
course.
McGregor too, because he's in
Dude,
the
I told
hospital
BJ
gown.
this earlier. That was the one thing that annoyed me. We had boobs in the first Roadhouse. And then whenever you first turn this movie on, at least on Amazon Prime, in the corner it said rated R and it says like action, blah blah, it's in nudity. It's all over here waiting and waiting. It was just his ass. That's what the nudity
It's
was.
gotta be language too, because this movie uses the word asshole more than I've ever heard in any other movie before.
Yes, for sure.
And it damn near shows Conor McGregor's asshole at one point.
I think they probably just
uh,
edited that out or CGI'd it or something because there's no way when he bent over for his phone you weren't getting
Conor McGregor is dying to show his dick in a movie.
he wouldn't hide it.
oh, and
He
he
will
will
show
do
you.
it. He will do it. He'll Benny Flack it. He won't be no Michael Douglas. Show us your dick, Michael Douglas.
Mhm.
Before we leave the Mount Rushmore scenes, I've already mentioned it in the pod. David, you missed it. You should have kept talking about the throat scene. Because after he breaks that guy's trachea and the guy dies, is when we get our favorite little guy back, and he's just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, these guys aren't as nice as I initially thought." Like, thought all that was funny, and then Gyllenhaal starts walking over to him. He's just like, they don't really tell me anything. I'm pretty much allowed to know, which is kind of a weird position to be in. But I did hear his guys talking, and they have a meeting at 5 a.m. on his boat, which seems kind of early for a meeting, but
I
He
want a
was
spin
really
off of
good.
that guy. I just want
Yeah.
to follow him for an hour and a half in a
Well,
movie.
that should have been like they should have done the credit scene with Conor McGregor leaving the hospital, and then they should have had like another like during the credits with him just riding his motorcycle away with his broken arm. Like I would have just loved that, just him driving away, like next to the bus that
Like
that he was
as
on.
Con-
Yeah, he's on his Greyhound bus, and then you just see him next to the Greyhound bus, and he's riding his
he just waves with his cast on,
yeah,
just gives him a big wave and smile.
yeah, that would have been perfect way to end the
oh,
man.
good Mount Rushmore. I knew it was gonna be. There's so many scenes in this
I
movie
will
that stick
say
with me.
this, I was super worried this movie was just going to be awful. Like, just awful. It wasn't.
I wasn't. I knew this movie was gonna be good. I knew it.
I'm with David.
Yeah,
I was nervous. I was nervous.
yeah.
I know you were. We talked about it, but I knew what I was getting into, and I knew it was gonna be good, and it was.
So
It was ass-tastic.
it was fabulous. All right, so movie related talk. Why do you guys think this wasn't as good as the first one?
I think the number one answer is it's not the '80s. The original Roadhouse is a classic '80s action movie, and that gave it so many endearing qualities that when you look back on it, you're watching it and it's just nostalgic and it hits all these other tropes and everything. And this just can't achieve that because it's
So
2024.
they're more self-aware of the shitty movie than the Swayze one was.
Yes,
I I I
exactly.
think you nailed it, and I also think Gyllenhaal's not as cool as Swayze.
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to do that with the character, but it is a reason that the original is better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think he was supposed to be a cool character, but like that was a big part of it for me is Swayze was so goddamn cool. And Gyllenhaal, despite everything he is, cool is not one of them.
Yeah. David, do you have any thoughts on why this wasn't as
I
good
mean,
as
I've
the
already
original?
said it, but I will say it again. Just I wanted my roundhouse
No
fucking
no
chicken.
no
I
throat
just
rip.
I mean, you don't even have to do the throat. Although I did want it, and I said that going into it, that if they don't have the throat rip, I will hate the movie. I walked that one back. I did like the movie, but where I just it was so you had two UFC fighters in the movie. Why no roundhouse kick? That's my biggest complaint. It, it was there. You had all the tools.
So I know I don't really watch UFC. Jacob really doesn't watch UFC. David, do you watch UFC? Do they do roundhouse kicks in UFC?
Oh, maybe they don't. Honestly, I don't watch it. So I just don't know if UFC has it or not. I just assume they're martial arts people in UFC. So do a roundhouse kick. It can't be that hard. I can do one. And I'm an out of
Prove
shape,
it.
knees hurt.
Prove it. Do it right now.
Do it right now. Anyway.
Oh my god, he's not wearing any pants.
Oh, I'll do it right now. I'm just gonna let me bend over to get my phone out of my sock real quick for you.
Awesome.
All right. Character breakdown. What did I who did I have up first, Jacob? What did I write it down as?
Y Jake, I can't spell Gyllenhaal. Perfect.
What'd you guys think of Jake?
Uh, I mean wait, no, hold on. Before we go to the character breakdown, I have a little sidebar movie
Okay.
related talk. And this comes from Nema. We're about 30 minutes in, maybe 35 minutes into this movie, and she pauses it and looks at me and goes, "Why are there so many thirst traps in a movie geared for men?" She goes, "I've seen more shirtless men in this movie than my romance movies," and then that's where she said, "I'm not complaining or anything."
I mean, but she has a valid
And
point.
and this was what and 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 she asked this probably like 5 or 10 minutes before we had Connor McGregor's intro scene, and then that happened, and she just threw her hands up. She was like,
Hell yeah.
Is this 50 Shades of Grey? What's going on?
right? So, yeah, question, why are there so many thirst traps in a movie geared towards men? I told her it was because it makes it easier for women to watch it, and she's like, "No, there's no way there's no way that's right."
It's the same reason that when you watch professional wrestling, it's big, muscular, lean men wearing nothing but trunks. Testosterone.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay? Good little sidebar. Character breakdown.
All right, back to Jake.
Yeah,
I can't spell Gyllenhaal. What'd you guys think?
oh, Jake Gyllenhaal was great. He wasn't as good as Swayze,
Well, no one's the Swaze
but
Man.
I enjoyed his character. Oh, that's true, but I enjoyed his character. Like, I didn't think it was bad, and it's Jake Gyllenhaal doing Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, the past 10 years, every one of his roles, he gets real quiet and does it kind of different. This quiet guy was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job, but like I mean, he kind of had a high bar to to match like, playing the Swaze Man. One of my favorite like quotes about Patrick Swayze. I was watching a YouTube video where they were talking about Dirty Dancing, and where he's like dancing in the lake, and they're like, "Yeah, a little movie trivia for you. That was dry land before the Swaze Man was there." It's
I I did like that he didn't try to be Patrick Swayze and just took the character in a totally different direction. That
yeah.
didn't make it seem like a cheap ripoff.
Okay, that's good. Connor McGregor, man, BJ, say for our listeners what you said earlier to me about McGregor's performance.
So I think Connor McGregor thinks he deserves an Oscar for this movie because my entire life I never thought giving 110% was a thing. It's mathematically impossible to give 110%. And then I watch this movie and Conor McGregor's performance, and I go, "That's 110%."
Yep.
He is absolutely giving 110%.
100. Yeah.
it, 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 it is no longer
No,
mathematically
I've seen
impossible.
it with
I've
my
seen
own eyes. It's possible.
it. I don't think anything else needs to be said about McGregor. But that nails it, and all of his ass shots, we got it.
He would show us his dick, like he said, in a heartbeat.
Oh, for sure.
That's a man who's trained his body for UFC, and he's proud of his body. That's who he is.
He's like, check this out, everyone. I can't do Irish Cockney
Yeah.
accent. That was my
I
Oh,
just
go at
good
it.
yeah.
good luck in the impersonation segment.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, who do I have next? Let me check the trusty old list.
The douchey silver spoon kid.
Ben Knapp. I believe I described him as the guy who plays Joe Burrow in a movie about Patrick Mahomes.
That's wow. I didn't even
Yeah.
think of it that way, but that's a pretty accurate little statement right there.
I loved what a piece of shit he was and how incompetent he was. I love incompetent bad guys. It's my favorite thing in shitty movies.
Oh yeah. And Common Bag
No,
is the
I love
best.
that they didn't even try to hide
And
how
he was
incompetent he
really good.
was. It didn't even make sense why he had to do it the easy way, or like the way that he, like the justification for shutting the bar down the way that he was doing didn't make sense. Like you didn't have to do it the way he was doing it. Just totally incompetent.
Just pay her $20 million. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the money. And it's not even like that would even feel like a lot of money. just do it.
Yeah, and you can take a stance until someone offers you $20 million.
Yep. All right, BJ. I'm sitting here watching this movie, and Jake Gyllenhaal's in the back of a police car, and Big Dick gets in the car. And after about the third or fourth word, I'm just like, is that the bad guy from
Yes, it
Desperado?
is.
Like we just watched Desperado. Is that the bad guy from Desperado? I'm pretty sure that's the bad guy from Desperado. And then he steps out of his car, and it's the fucking bad guy from
Hell
Desperado.
yeah.
That's all I have to say about him. And thank you for doing that for me.
He how is he like, Desperado came out 30 years ago, and that guy somehow aged 7 years over the last 30 years. It's incredible.
Very incredible. I agree.
Yeah, great. Like the only thing, like almost the only difference is his hair is not black anymore.
Uh,
Any other characters we thought were great. For me, it's the comedic guy, the comedic partner.
I like the bartender that wanted that Gyllenhaal dick too.
Oh yes,
Oh, she was
he was
about it.
great.
She was all about it.
And I just and that was Gyllenhaal's little homage to how charismatic Swayze is, because every time anybody talked to Gyllenhaal, but specifically the bartender, he was always just so charismatic and nice. The bartender was like, I might have a chance. Like on the right day, I might have a chance. So
Trivia man. What does
trivia and facts. Well, you know, it being a new movie, there's not a whole lot here, but I
okay.
have some. See what we got. Jake Gyllenhaal underwent extensive training with renowned
No
trainer
shit.
Jason
Sorry. Come on. Did you see his abs? Of course he did. But go on.
So, with renowned trainer Jason Walsh to prepare for his role as an ex-UFC fighter, the preparation involved a multi-leveled regime focused on strength, conditioning, and nutrition, highlighting Gyllenhaal's dedication to the role.
I did
Dave's
Hell yeah.
response says it all. No
Yeah.
shit. Look at his abs. He didn't get that from going to the gym 3 days a week for 40 minutes, did he?
Ever since I learned like the diets and like how these movie stars get six pack abs, I'm like, I'm not willing to do all that.
No.
Because you know how quick
Every
they
fight
lose
in the
those, by the way. Like when they're done with the movie, how quick
One
that stick
cheeseburger.
for what it's gone. It's gone. Like
God.
here's a quick example before we go with the trivia. You know the Justice League movie with Ben Affleck, how he was like super in shape. It was only like a few months later when they had to do reshoots, and you could tell he was already out of shape. Like
Yeah,
already,
fuck
like
that. I just fucking had to have 6 packs for 4 months of filming. I'm gonna eat a goddamn milkshake.
yeah. But go on with the trivia. Sorry.
Every fight in the film uses full CGI body doubles due to the production using a new multipass method to do seamless punches and kicks, instead of faking hits or cutting around the action to be believable. In every fight, the doubles are stitched into the edit for a few frames before stitching back to real footage.
Oh, so they CGI stitch the actual punches. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, I
I
didn't
didn't
notice.
either. That's pretty good. Notice that fucking truck though. I'm still upset about that.
The film was shot in the Dominican Republic, with the only shots actually in the Florida Keys being that of Fred the Tree. Fred is an Australian pipeline which is not local to the area and likely brought via bird droppings.
So
It's a bird shit tree.
so that had to have been for money reasons, right? Because they're
Yeah.
too expensive to
Yeah,
film in the Florida Keys. That had to
Yeah.
have been the reason.
exactly. So you film in the Dominican Republic, you get all kinds of tax breaks because you're bringing in jobs for
Yeah.
locals. Yeah, so you get all kinds of tax breaks because you're bringing in jobs for locals, and your 85 million gets stretched out a lot. The centerpiece of the production was the main roadhouse set, designed by production designer Greg Berry and then built from scratch from the ground up. Perhaps the greatest testament to the quality of the construction was the fact that the roadhouse set, including its thatched roof, withstood the force of Hurricane Fiona, which blew through the Dominican Republic filming location in September 2022.
Mm.
Damn. Because when you build a set, you're
Yeah.
supposed to build it cheap. They're going to tear it down after 3 months of filming, whatever. They're not supposed to withstand fucking hurricanes. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's cool. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
This is homage to the first film. The restaurant next to Stephen's bookstore is named the Double Deuce Restaurant, which is also the name of the bar in the first Roadhouse
Double
film.
deuce.
The Double Deuce. When Dalton returns to the bookstore, Charlie reads a book summary to him. It is a Western whose protagonist is named Wade. Wade was the name of Sam Elliott's character from the original.
Hell
Nice.
yeah. You know what I know why obviously the Swaze Man isn't alive anymore. But I wish that like Sam Elliott would have been somewhere in the movie. Like you had to like look like a little Easter egg. Like he could have just been the bus driver or something. I don't fucking know.
Oh,
It
that'd
would
have
have been
been
kind of
cool.
cool.
He
You know, just
he could have looked like his character in The Big Lebowski and just be drinking
yeah,
beer at
just
the
like one of
bar.
those like Easter eggs, like where you're just like watching it and like you have that one guy, you know what I mean? And he's just there. Like
Yeah,
that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like,
That's so.
you know, like he's like something like that.
I think the funniest thing that I just said is that he could have looked like his character from The Big Lebowski. Like Sam Elliott has never not looked
That's
like
true.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
I agree with you, David. That'd have been
Yeah.
During the final fight between Dalton and Knox, Dalton says, "Be nice," which is a nod to the famous quote from the original film, "I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice." Just a classic bad movie
Mhm.
line. And then my last bit of trivia is kind of UFC trivia. When meeting Knox, Connor McGregor refers to Dalton as the world's most notorious fighter. Notorious is McGregor's nickname in UFC. Ronda Rousey was originally set to star in a gender swap remake with Nick Cassavetes set to direct.
Mm,
I'm glad they didn't do that because there's just certain things you don't need to gender swap. You know, I would have rolled my eyes if they did that.
yeah.
I agree.
It's too much of a testosterone filled movie for a gender swap.
Agreed. Okay, that was my trivia and facts. You're welcome,
Well,
guys.
thank you.
Movie impersonations,
Connor McGregor.
of course.
Me and Jacob can't do this, but you know where mine's gonna go.
It's gonna turn
I
into
always go.
Shrek.
I was gonna turn it. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. I always go clubbing with my clubs. I give it you a Lucky Charms thing. Whatever.
Oi, you've got Knox here. I just finished fucking some broad, but I still had my fucking boots on so I could answer my phone. Mine went to fat bastard. What the fuck? Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I guess
man.
too much Irish fucking whiskey. That's why I got my whiskey dick and couldn't end up fucking her, so I'm just sitting here in my boots, showing off my ass.
Eating a sandwich. Oh, I'm hungry. Glad this. What the hell is the sandwiches about? Like, oh,
Heart
they're making
stars,
food. Like,
heart
he's like,
stars and rainbows, clovers and blue moons.
oh, I'm starving for me Lucky Charms.
Oh, that was bad.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm not even going to attempt. You heard me try to do
We
it earlier.
gotta try, Jacob. Victor, always try. Come on.
Fuck. Okay. What am I gonna say? You got Knox here. Man, that's English.
I know. When I try to do it, it always goes English too. It's all the same. I'm just kidding. Someone from Britain's eventually gonna listen to this, be like, it's not the same.
I tried to fuck her with my Lucky Charms. Instead, my Lucky Charms got
Oh, that's good. I will say this. I would never been if it wasn't for the fact that he's just jacked, his voice, I was like, "I'm not intimidated by you."
I'm I'm not just jacked, I jack off. No, that was bad.
David would have underestimated the IRA back in the day.
100%. Yeah, like, "Look, I'm not eating cereal, I think we're okay."
All right. Final thoughts on the movie in general. Just a great kick-ass movie.
Testosterone filled, action packed. Definitely not as good as the first movie, but to me, I enjoyed it so much, I'll still give this movie a 7.7. I'll round up to an 8 if I have to. It's fine.
David?
I'm giving it one of my lower scores because I'm giving it a 6.5 so I can round up to a 7 maybe if I feel like it, but I wanna round down to regular 6 because if there was no roundhouse kick. I'm serious, that really upset me. But besides that, it was good.
The round the roundhouse kick brings it down a
Really
whole
does,
point for
yeah.
you?
It brings it a whole point down, and but I kept it a higher number because they did keep a lot of other things in it, you know? So, good
And it's
movie
fun.
overall. It's
Like,
a fun, shitty movie. We talked about that the other day. It could be a shitty movie, and it could be a fun movie. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Jacob?
Okay. My rating of the movie is right in between both of y'all's. It's 7. Just a straight 7. I really enjoyed this movie. I think I gave Roadhouse like a 9.5, 9.4 maybe. I like this movie as much as I liked the original Roadhouse. I'll probably watch this one more than the original Roadhouse because the violence is more, and that's what I like about these movies is the violence. But the original Roadhouse is just a better movie by a lot, so I give this one a 7. But I enjoyed it as much as the
Now,
original.
you say a straight 7. After watching this many shirtless men and ass shots, are you sure it's not a bi 7?
That's pretty good.
Oh,
Thank you.
BJ, that was a pretty good
I was
joke.
waiting for you to finish to say that. It was all I could do to not say it earlier.
That was good. Should they remake this? Make a sequel. Conor McGregor's character's still alive. We still got
Yeah.
Knox.
How long before Conor McGregor's in a Fast and Furious movie?
Well, considering that they just made the last
Ugh.
one, never. I'm just kidding. There'll be an 11. There'll be an 11.
Well, it didn't make sense. I guess it made sense because he just Knox was like just a like he was made out to be an insane guy. He killed the boss's son. Like you're not getting paid now, Like it just like he's just insane. Like why would you kill the boss's son? You ain't getting paid now.
Yep. Oh, right. I have some quality reviews here, guys. My good and bad IMDb
Let's
reviews
go. Let's go.
by YYY 2024-26, titled "This Movie dot 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 is for the ladies." Now, hear me out. We all know that Jake Gyllenhaal has a punchable face. We also know that he is currently, so far, one of the least scandalous and eccentric, yet most attractive Hollywood actors out there. Based on these premises alone, the movie is worth a glimpse. Now, here, Jake is trained, and he looks like a Greek god figure with a highly punchable, yet even more attractive face. This movie and ice cream during the ovulation phase. Blessed thy shall be.
are, are you positive Nema didn't write this, Jacob?
Positive. The content, easy, digestible, plotline, nothing original, yet the dialogue, dry, funny, silent, and easy humor. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Last but not least, a fight between Jake and Connor as seen in advertisements. Just imagine they are fighting over you. I will never be the same again. Definitely a rewatch.
They are welcome on this podcast anytime. That is a phenomenal review.
So I found the first review that I found, David, was a review similar to this, and I'm like, I have my review.
Hmm.
That's it. And then I kept looking because I'm like, surely I can find a good one-liner for this movie. And then I came across that one, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
that's
for
it.
real.
That's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Okay, my 1-star review, 1 out of 10 by Colliander 447332 titled "Way Below JG's Level." Probably the worst movie ever made. Huge McGregor fan. Same goes with Jake. But I wasted 2 hours of my life for nothing? This is Jake G who's starring. The same guy from the Zodiac. He can act. Doing this movie with Connor is way below JG's level and does nothing except hurt his legacy. The movie is a disgrace and disrespectful to both Patrick Swayze and the original cult classic Roadhouse. Again, I love Connor McGregor, but he has to be the worst actor ever. A more stiff, robotic, and unnatural acting is hard to imagine. His acting attempt made me cringe my toes, and I felt embarrassed on his behalf. I seriously mean that. But not as embarrassed as Jake G must feel after getting involved with this absolutely sad and low impact movie. I sure hope Jake G will bounce back from this, and I sure as hell pray that Connor will never be seen appearing in a motion picture again. He does nothing except tarnishing his legacy further, if even possible. Let's pray Connor goes back to doing blow and cheating on his wife, because that's a lot more entertaining than the 2024 Roadhouse remake. I'm saddened by the fact that Connor we all loved in 2016 simply doesn't exist anymore. Don't waste hours of your life watching this movie. Trust me, it's not worth it and you'll regret it. I'll do my best to forget that Jake G actually starred in this movie. It's below your level, Jake. You can do way better. Done.
It's a sign off.
I love the sign off. I love that she can't spell Gyllenhaal either. Why did I say she? Is it a she? I don't even know. I love that they can't spell Gyllenhaal either, because same. And everyone does bad movies. What are you talking about? Didn't
Right.
didn't Jake Gyllenhaal do like God of War, Prince of Persia?
That movie was awful.
If he can survive, if
Prince
he
of
can
Persia.
survive that garbage, he can survive this fun Florida Keys movie.
Agreed. Good reviews this week, and I knew there would be with Roadhouse. Knew there would be.
Good old Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Okay, so should people watch this movie? Yeah, it's made for everybody. It's got all the violence and ruthless aggression that men want out of movies, and it's got all the shirtless men that some men and women will want out of movies.
You know going into it, and it's Roadhouse. You should know this going into it. Turn your brain off, watch it, enjoy some cool fight scenes. It's cool, it's fun. A lot of shirtless dudes and a couple of ass shots. What do you want?
Yeah, and it's a Florida movie, so you know there's going to be a Florida storyline. An alligator eats somebody.
And knows how to hide it.
Crocodiles do hide. Why was? Oh, I guess because alligators aren't saltwater, right? So that's why it was a crocodile.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You know, it's what I loved
Dude,
how
I don't
and
know.
on a side note, I loved how incompetent all of the bad guys were. He had him dead to rights with the shotgun, and you're like, just answer one question for me. Like, dude, just shoot him. You're there to shoot him. Like, oh. He's like, I'm just, oh shoot, man, it's not you, it's the play, and then just just so incompetent.
Good shit. But yeah, watch the movie. It's great. You'll love it.
Fun movie.
It's 30 minutes too long, but you're not going to notice that it's 30 minutes too long until after you finish the
Yep,
movie.
it's a great way of saying it.
It's paced really well. Watch it.
Well, that about does it for us at I Remember My First Time.
We are on Facebook. We have a Twitter that we're not using.
Oh,
We have
wait,
Instagram.
not Twitter. It's yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck all that whole platform.
Fair. start following us. Start listening to the pod. Our hosting service just got so much easier with editing. Now we just need to make enough money to cover the hosting service because we don't have no problem editing now. It's now easy.
Tell your friends, listen to these two jerk offs that have a podcast. It's kind of funny.
I
Yeah.
enjoy listening to it.
We're the best movie podcast out there.
That's right.
So that's us at IRMFT.
Till next time, bye.